Namaste everyone. Kindly come up on your mats, sit comfortably, keeping your back and neck straight, and very gently close your eyes. Start observing your breath. Just the natural flow of your breathing as you are inhaling and as you are exhaling. Make sure your body is correctly aligned. So your face should be relaxed, neck and shoulders should be relaxed, back should be straight. Slowly begin to deepen your breathing. We'll be chanting Om 3 times followed by 3 Shantis. Inhale deeply for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Just feel the vibrations. Join both your palms together and rub both your palms. Place them on your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes. Start coming back with a smile. And Namaste to everyone. We welcome you at Himalayan Yoga Association. I am Yogini Soumya and I will be taking your session today. So today we are going to talk about the lifestyle of a yoga practitioner. Now all of you are yoga practitioners, right? So there is a particular lifestyle that you guys will also begin to follow. And yoga is nothing else but actually a lifestyle, right? So the deeper you go into the practices, the more you will see that the impact is coming into your life. It is changing the way in which you live. So this is actually not a separate thing. It is actually bound to come into your life sooner or later if you continue your practices, right? Lifestyle is just the way in which we live, the habits that we develop over time, and these habits should always help us to support our life, right? So we should be able to lead a healthy life. We should remain energetic. We should have the stamina and the enthusiasm to do our work, and that is exactly what a good lifestyle is, which motivates you every day and keeps you healthy on a physical, mental, emotional and even spiritual level, right? So when we talk of lifestyle, there are certain things that we specifically cover. Yeah, so when you guys are practicing, then you should also specifically make note of these things and see how you are changing them as you go deeper into your practices, right? So first thing is your food or ahar, right? Food. So don't care about the Sanskrit names, we will focus on the English names. Food, right? So of course, as you begin to practice in all the practices, be it asana, pranayama, there is a specific kind of food that you have to consume, right? Not all types of food items can be consumed when you go into yogic practices, right? So when we talk from the point of view of yoga, there are two concepts that are quite essential for us, right? One is the quality and quantity of eating, and the second is the kind of food we are consuming, right? So when it comes to the quantity, right, you should go for only food which fills half of your stomach. So half, if you eat 4 portions of during one meal, you should go for 2 now, okay, so that half of your stomach remains empty. The remaining half, that is divided into 2 parts, so 1/4 and 1/4, right? So 1/4 is left for air, okay, and 1/4 is left for water. So only half of your stomach should be filled with food, right? Then when we talk about the quality, so in the quality, you know, the food should be consumed as if you are offering it to God. And in fact, in a lot of places, this practice goes on where the food is first offered to some higher power or God, right? And then it is consumed. And it is consumed for the benefit of the body. So these days, you know, like we eat for taste. So we eliminate that thing when we come into yoga, because food is a very big attachment, right? When you don't get food, you get very angry, you know, you get very irritable, right? So food, when the yoga practitioner consumes the food, there is this constant realization when they are consuming the food that this food is only consumed to sustain my body, right? And because of these characteristics, the food that one consumes, it gives them a lot of energy, right? So sometimes you consume some food and you feel lethargic, but sometimes when you consume certain food items, it increases your vitality, and that is the whole point of consuming food. Now if we come to the types of food, so depending on the 3 qualities, there are 3 types of foods. There is sattvic food, there is rajasic food, and there is tamasic food, right? When you come to the sattvic food, this is the most ideal diet for a yoga practitioner, right? Yoga practitioners consume only sattvic food. Sattvic food is vegetarian food which is easy to digest, which gives you a lot of energy, right, and contains all the nutrition that you need. Examples of sattvic food include vegetables, fruits, your milk, khichdi. It's an item that is made in India out of rice and dal, right, and vegetables are put in it. Very easy to digest and a very holistic meal. When we come to rajasic food is generally heavy in nature, and it's mostly consumed by people who are into rigorous physical activity. So you will see sports persons, they generally have a very different diet, you know, they mostly consume rajasic food. And rajasic food also has another quality, that it has a lot of spices in it. So when one consumes the rajasic food, they become very active, right? They become very you know, the mind becomes very active at that point of time. So sometimes, you know, when you eat something and immediately a lot of heat is produced in the body, right? So the spices are very high. That is what is causing you that irritation or that production of heat in the body. Yeah. And then we come to the tamasic food. So tamasic food is the lowest of all. all kinds of packed food, all the food which has preservatives. This food has very low energy value, right? And when you consume this food, you immediately feel very lazy, lethargic, you feel like sleeping, right? So junk food, tea, coffee, all of these things, they are doing what? They are tamasic food. They are not benefiting you much. They are not providing your body a lot of energy, right? So you should avoid tamasic and rajasic food when you come into the practices of yoga, and you should go for sattvic food. Okay, then when we discuss the lifestyle, the second thing that comes up is recreation. Okay, so you know, a lot of people, they think that when you enter yoga, you are supposed to stop with the recreation, right? But yoga encourages recreation, because yoga recognizes that you cannot leave your life behind, right? You will have emotional ups and downs, right? Your mind will get cluttered every once in a while. It will cause that chaos, and in order to manage that, proper kind of recreation is introduced when one comes into yogic practices. So these recreational activities can be as per your understanding as well, right? So if you like to sing, you can take out some time to sing, right? If you like to dance, you can go dancing. Take out some time in your day to do any form of recreational activity which keeps you refreshed and helps you to manage and channel your emotions and your thoughts, right? So you don't have to avoid them, you don't have to feel guilty about it, but do whatever you like doing and make time for it every day. Take out at least half an hour for something you love to do every day. Then we move to the conduct. So right conduct, it's very important when one enters the yogic practices. Okay, so the conduct should always be correct. One can choose to go for wrong conduction as well, right? But when you come into yogic practices, then the correct conduction plays a very important part, and the conduction is built over a period of time, you know, a series of habits that you repeat over and over again, which forms a belief system and your character. And yogic practices provide you a space where you can form a better character, right? So when you read the Yoga Sutras, you will see that Patanjali has also talked about the development of the right conduct in the form of yamas and niyamas. So how you have to conduct yourself in the society and how you have to personally conduct yourself, right? So these two things you can look into when we talk specifically of the conduct, right? Then the fourth thing is the right thought. Okay, now we all know that anything that happens in life, first a thought comes up. First you think of going on a vacation, then you start researching, you look, you book the flight, you book the train, then you book the hotel, right? And then you go to that place and then you enjoy your vacation, right? So but the thought of taking an off or taking that vacation comes up, which in turn helps you to act on it, right? Which is so necessary, right? So if the thought is not correct, that means the action and the speech by default, they will see the consequence of the wrong thought, right? And thoughts have a lot of power. If you think of something, if you think you can do something, you will actually be able to do it, you know. If you think that you want to achieve this thing in life, just the thought, you know, just the mere invitation of the thought will help you to create the circumstances in your life that you can actually achieve that goal or target in your life, right? So you have to focus on creating the right kind of thoughts, being positive rather than having a pessimistic or a negative approach towards life. You have to focus on bringing a much more positive and optimistic view towards life, right? And as you do the yogic practices, this is bound to come. you are bound to feel the optimism that life has to offer to you. And the last point of discussion is the behavior. So you should also have the right behavior. Behavior is nothing else but how you conduct yourself in your day-to-day life, how you do each and every activity in your day, right? It's a series of the right accumulation of the right behavior, which is going to turn into the right conduct. Okay, so each and every activity, how it's supposed to be done. So Bhagavad Gita really talks on this thing and says that the action should be done with perfection, right? So whenever you do something, do it with full concentration, with full dedication, right? Doing only one thing at a time, and be detached from the results of whatever you are doing, right? So don't do something just because you will get this reward or that reward, right? Do it because it is your duty, it is your responsibility to do that thing. And if you incorporate these 4 qualities into whatever you do, you reach the perfection in action, right? No task is too high or too low for you, right? Everything that you are given every day, do it with that same level of dedication, with that same level of concentration, right? And you will see how efficiently you are able to do the things. Even the things you don't want to do, you will end up doing them much more efficiently. And that is all that yoga promotes. Whatever you are doing, it's nothing extraordinary. Everything is ordinary. Whatever you're doing and how you are doing it makes all the difference in your life, right? So if you want to incorporate yoga as a lifestyle, right, focus on all of these points every day. Look at your thoughts, okay? Look at your behavior. See how you are conducting yourself over a period of time. Take out time for recreation and focus on the way in which you consume your food and the type of food you consume, right? So let's end today's session. We have a lot to think about, right? So sit comfortably, keep your back and neck straight, and gently close your eyes. We'll chant Om one time, followed by 3 Shantis. Inhale deeply for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Just observe the vibrations. Join your palms together and rub your palms together. Keep them on your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes. Start coming back with a big smile. And namaste to everyone. Thank you so much.